protest action in Israel, we now welcome Dr. Evan Cohen, the former spokesperson to international media for Benjamin Netanyahu, a Likud party member and former chair of Likud Pride. Evan, thank you so much for your time today. Let's start with this ongoing protest action over government's handling of the coronavirus, spanning several weeks now, if not longer. Many calls have been made for Benjamin Netanyahu to step down. How damaging do you think this has been for the Prime Minister, in your opinion?
First of all, I'd like to stress a certain point here. I don't believe that these protests are directly related to the coronavirus, and I can demonstrate this quite easily. The permits from the police for these protests were secured on the 17th of May, which was exactly the date that the Prime Minister formed the new government. So these protests are political protests, most of them, against the current government and against the Prime Minister. I don't believe that they're extremely damaging in the long run. In the short term, of course, they're damaging, and they may even affect policy in the short term. But I don't believe that they will be more damaging in the long run because the solutions are forthcoming. And I think that it will take time for us to see exactly how these things develop. And that will have a lot more effect than the protests themselves. At the moment, what we can see... Sorry.
No, continue.
No, I'm saying at the moment, what we can see is that never before have we seen so few demonstrators receiving so much press, so much positive press, non-stop broadcasts around the clock. And this is something which I believe will really upset the public's faith in the media and the way we see the media. So I think that while there may be real grievances, and I think that there are real grievances and real issues at hand, these protests that are currently ongoing have nothing to do with the coronavirus.
It's so interesting, Evan, that you say that, because in just the last report that we ran, my colleague Jonathan Regev was speaking to various protesters, and they are talking about the fact that financially they've been crippled by not being able to work. Obviously, there are people waiting for grants and clarity on what that would entail, and a lot of disillusionment across the country, and that is a lot of what we are hearing from protesters right now. In terms of your opinion, how do you feel the government is handling this? And if this isn't what the protesters are up in arms about, what is the main issue right now, in your opinion?
I think that the government has encountered a lot of difficulties in handling the current situation. I think that some of the things are not being handled optimally. And the reason being that the government isn't functioning as well is because we have a government which basically has an opposition within the government. And if we check what we had up until the 17th of May, until the new government was formed, the government functioned fantastically up until the formation of the new government. But now what we currently have is we have a Prime Minister who I think is devoting 24/7 towards the solutions regarding the coronavirus. And we have opposition within the government that is doing everything in its power to regain some of their public support, which they've lost dramatically. I mean, if we check the blue and white support in the public, it's at an all-time low. I mean, from the over 30 seats which they obtained during the elections, the 18 which came into the government, they now have fewer than 10 seats, probably 7 or 8 seats in all the polls. And this is something that the only way that they can basically regain any public support is to be opposition. And that is why the government isn't functioning optimally at the moment.
Now, talking about government functioning properly, Evan, at the same time, the corruption cases against Benjamin Netanyahu keep making headlines. As you know, the criminal case will be back in court in December, and then we'll hear more from January onwards. You have worked with the Prime Minister in the past. Is it realistically possible to run a country, tackle a pandemic, and appear in court on a regular basis? Is this really viable, in your opinion?
It's not only viable. The Prime Minister has been doing this ever since this episode began. I mean, he's been doing it wonderfully up until now. I think that most of the criticism against the Prime Minister from within his camp, from within the Likud, has only been during the coronavirus epidemic, and only since the formation of the new government. Up until the formation of the new government, even that was functioning pretty well. And the Prime Minister will not be in court every day or every other day. He has lawyers which handle that. The first court appearance will be in 5 months' time, and the Prime Minister will attend any court appearances that he has to attend. But he will continue running the country as he has done for the last 11 years.
Thank you so much. That's Dr. Evan Cohen, the former spokesperson to international media for Benjamin Netanyahu, a Likud party member and former chair of Likud Pride. We appreciate your